Hey beauties, this is Rain with Unfiltered Beauty, and we are on another episode with Unfiltered Beauty. I do have a really great special guest today. This is one of my best friends. Because of him, this is how I got into my advocacy work with that opportunity that was given to him from JoeJoe. So I'm gonna go ahead and let him
Entertain.
entertain. My bad, I fucked up. I'm gonna introduce himself.
Hello. Well, my name is Jose Chavarria, or they know me as JoeJoe. Um, yeah. What else do I? I know I'm Mexican. Off the back, I'm Mexican. I'm not afraid. I'm not embarrassed of it. I am Mexican. Um, I moved to San Antonio back in 2016. I'm originally from the Valley. Yeah, Valley. Um, but born in Matamoros, raised in Texas. So yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So Jojo, so I know this episode we're gonna do it a little bit more different. We are gonna go really with everything that's happening in this country right now with political, especially with our Latino community. I definitely I was there a few like about a month ago, a month or 2 months ago when we went to go get finalized everything.
Yes.
And being somebody who is born in Mexico and wanted to give an insight, especially because this is such an important topic, and many people out there don't really get to hear the stories of our Mexican brothers and sisters that are going through the process. Because there's always saying like, do it the legal way. Why aren't people doing it? So I brought you on today onto my podcast because I wanted you to get go ahead. I wanted you to give that insight what that process was for you and your family.
All right. So I'm really not a political person. I try to avoid it as much as I can. But like you said, this is something important that, needs to be spoken about and aware about. Um, Off the back, when I was born, you know, raised all my life here in Texas. I'm very grateful, for all these great opportunities, of course, here in the US, and in Texas, of course. But along the way, we can lose ourselves where we actually come from. Even though my whole life was in Texas, here in the US, like my roots were in Mexico, and Mexico is a very nice country to be at. That's why I visited certain areas as well. But my process to become a US citizen, it was scary because you don't know what kind of people are out there. Being Mexican, it would never became question where I was born here or not born here. But along the way, growing up as a kid to adulthood, uh, I would hear a lot of people like, oh, effing wetbacks. And I stayed quiet and said nothing
Yeah,
because I wasn't too familiarized the vocabulary
with the
back then
terms.
growing up. Exactly. Now that I see it, it's like, okay, and I guess what it is now is something hurtful to tell someone, not knowing if they are or they're not. But wetback is just like a slang.
It's a slang, and it's a lot of something. I remember growing up in school too. That was one thing that I would hear a lot, especially in these areas where it was there was very few
Yeah.
as Latinos, you know. And I remember growing up in Dallas, and when I lived over there, and the school that I first went to as an elementary kid, I was bullied for being darker than everybody else in my school.
Yeah.
I was going to school
I mean,
in
I was never bullied for anything like that. I was mainly bullied for being chubby, but that's fine,
Yeah, the tortillas were
Yeah,
good.
my grandma tortillas were always good, My Mexican grandma always in the morning, ten mijito una tortilla and everything, I miss my grandma, she passed away when I was
Oh,
already gonna be 6 already. And that was a very, till now it feels like it just happened because it happened really, really quick and suddenly that I was not aware, my grandma's illness back then, like being
yeah.
diabetic, or cancer or anything, when you're little, you don't really
Yeah,
focus too much
we're not
things like
exposed
that.
to those things.
Yeah.
It's like that's
Or they don't
adult
tell you
stuff.
about it, what it
Yeah.
is. So it's fine. So I understand, but my process becoming a US citizen, like I say, it was kind of scary in a way. My mom told me a long time ago, become a US citizen. My mom became a US citizen as well. It's been like about 8 years that she became a US citizen. And of course, we do it the legal way. I was a permanent resident for the past, I'm 42 years old. So for the past 42 years, I was, permanent resident, not illegal. My mom did it the legal way. But back then, crossing into the US, was more different, easier way than do it back then. You know, now it's like pay like thousands of dollars just to get one document in, and that doesn't guarantee you that you're gonna
Yeah,
have, any type of permanent resident here. You're wasting thousands and thousands of dollars. It doesn't give you any for sure that you're gonna stay, or
there's
yeah,
no
you're gonna do it the
guarantee
legal
in
way,
that.
you know. So people lose hope in that. So a lot of things that people do is that, you know what? I paid a lawyer in Mexico so many thousand. I see nothing moving, nothing processing. I'm just gonna risk it, do it on my own. That's what people are coming over here for, a better opportunity. There are opportunities, but I understand a lot of people. No, I do it the legal way. There are people doing it the legal way, and those that are here already doing it the legal way are just being sent back after many years. Why did they only
Yeah,
have like a year to go to be permanent resident, and now
please.
they're going back, and that's thousands of dollars. Like I said, wasted right there.
There's no like this
There's no
administration is
background check.
not
There's no, you know what? You have a year to go. We'll let you stay for the rest of the year. You have to go, and that's it. Those that are barely starting, okay, maybe, yes. But I mean, give them the opportunity, at least those who are doing it the right way and not the wrong way.
exactly. Yeah, and I agree. I feel like with this administration, like they're not abiding by the rules. Not
There's no
even
accountability for them
yeah.
at all.
There's no accountability. They're not abiding by the rules. They're not even the people that have been here for years and are doing it the right way are not giving that consideration. Like it's just like we see you're Latino. They assume that we're not all from here.
But it's
And
funny because, I'm sorry,
no, you're
it's
good.
funny because the US is bordered to Canada and Mexico. And wherever everybody else comes from, from Latin America, which is El Salvador, Peru, Colombia, all the stuff. Why is the US only concentrating more on Mexico than any other foreigner or, foreign people that are coming here illegally? Like why only brown people? Why? Because I mean, white people also came in the illegal way. And when they did, they, erased half of the people of the Native Americans that were here. Those were the true Americans. Anybody else besides them is a illegal, not illegal, but a foreign person in a land that was already discovered by the natives, not by Christopher Columbus, because he didn't discover a land that was already inhabited by the people before them. I mean,
Yeah,
so
you
it
know,
doesn't make sense.
to answer into that, I feel like everything is done the way this administration is, the way I seen it, what I've seen and like done my research is that they're doing it in a way that they know what like not this is no shade to any other culture out there. This is not type of throwing hate to any culture. Let me make that very clear. It's just something as I'm seeing as a whole country the Latino community are a lot of our community are the ones that this country was built back. So what I feel is that this administration is like, let me remove the people who are building this country and who are keeping this economy alive. And we have our farm workers, our people that are out in the fields,
Yeah.
doing that type of the really hard work. So it's like, let me take that group out so the rest of the country can suffer and like they want us to bow down to them. Like that's what I see. They wanted just like back in the day when kings and queens, they were like the riches and like their villages, like they depended off the king and the queen. And this president we have is such a tyrant that he is wanting to be a king. And the best way to make the economy fall and make people look like I need you is by removing the strongest culture, which is the Latino community.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with on that. Some of the things is that the U.S. was built by immigrants, by black, Latinos, Chinese, all type of races that are not European white. Those are the backbone of America, immigrants.
Yes.
So why? And we shouldn't be ashamed of anything because without us, people wouldn't be eating, tacos, tortillas, frijoles, chicharrones,
Building
fajita,
their
all this
homes,
stuff,
building
building
the
their home.
streets.
All this food we have here is foreign food. It's not American food. You think a lot of people, they only had American food, they'll be eating burgers
Barrel.
and fries and hot dogs every Sunday. Scrambled egg, little Johnny. Here you go. No, no. There's always this spice. There's everything. There's different things to try. This whole world, it's good. It's multicultural country. And that's what makes it great. It's multicultural, and every little bit of
It is,
everything.
and
It's interesting. It's
I think
fun.
this is makes this country great from like a
Next
lot.
thing you know, God forbid, but I know back in the days there was a movie called Loved or Love It. I forgot what the name was, but it was the interracial couple, the first interracial couple, a black woman and a white man.
I was like, isn't that talking about Jungle Fever?
And they went through a lot to make their marriage recognized by the state they were in. They went through a lot, but and next thing you know, maybe they gonna push everything back that way, where interracial couple can't get married anymore like that.
I
We don't want
honestly
that
like
anymore.
that from this administration, like I feel for them, like that's what they want. They want like I've seen like videos out there that are not shown as much about like interracial couples and like how a lot of like white men are very upset that they have their
Hmm.
white or like their like white women marrying into black families
Yeah,
or Latino families or different like just any different culture but white
yeah,
supremacy
because it's
or
what
white.
society wants. Well, society thinks it's okay to be married into.
And it is so wild, like to think that we're in 2025, we're about to go in 2026, and we're still dealing with this shit. Like you would think like this country, that's why like I love this country so much because having different like remember when I first moved to San Antonio, I fell in love with San Antonio because like, coming from the valley and being just seeing Latinos, like okay, you sometimes you have that mindset where it's like, what else is out there? So
Yeah.
when I first moved to San Antonio, I was all like, damn, I really love this city because it's very diverse and people here were just so friendly and
Yes.
loving. And I fell in love with the city. I was like, you know what, as a trans person, if I'm gonna move somewhere, I want to be somewhere where I'm gonna feel safe. And
Correct.
when I came to San Antonio, I'm like, you know what? I love it. I love the culture here. There's always something to do in San
It is.
Antonio.
It's I like San Antonio as well. It was when I was a little kid. My dad brought us over here when no, I came in 1996 when I was still in elementary, when Fiesta, Texas has first opened in 96. Back then we did like a toss test back then.
Oh my god,
And
I
whoever
hated those
passed it
tests.
got a field trip to Fiesta, Texas. So when it first year opened, so I was fortunate, to be that year that it opened up. But not to get off topic, but back my road to where I'm at now, my citizenship, um, it it wasn't scary. It was just very nerve wracking because how I'm gonna come up with the money. It's $710. Nobody has like $710 to say. People have bills and car
Oh
payments
my
and
god, with
insurance and
this
all this stuff
economy
to
right
do.
now, it's getting so
It
expensive.
is. So I do DoorDash on the side, so I collected the money and I paid the citizenship in April. April, May, June, July, August, September. It took 5 months for them to say, okay, we're gonna interview you and do the test as well. So the interview is very easy, is piece of cake, but the questions they ask you is going back to what you can remember. Like if you ever said in your life, did I ever claim myself a U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
I never did. I'm not a U.S. citizen. That can go against you and that can deny you your citizenship. They ask you questions also American history.
Yeah, like got what, like 100 questions, right?
There's 100 questions, but out of the 100 questions, they question you only 10. Out of the 10, you need to answer 6 to pass, and that's it. And then you get your citizenship, and then you get to the ceremony, and that's it. Once you're done with the ceremony and you pass everything, then you have to let your social security know, your employer know, update your registration as well to vote as well. So this year hopefully will be my first year to vote. If not, sooner or later I'll have to vote. But they have an extensive background. Like they also ask me, like, do you pay taxes? I'm like, yes, I pay taxes. They just make sure you have a clean record. If you
Yeah.
ever had anything back in the day, if you were arrested after the age of 18 for a misdemeanor, or you went to jail, you got booked, you did time, that can count against you depending what it is. I'm not too
Yeah.
sure,
I
but
know, like
it does
when
count
especially when
against you.
you're for going that process, like I've heard many people say, like, you have to be like clean as a whistle. You cannot have no type of like
Yeah,
tickets
no
and stuff,
ticket. I mean, you got
like
tickets, but you pay them off, of course, obviously. But no, nothing more
a
where
warrant.
you went to trial or you murdered
Yeah.
someone or you robbed or at gunpoint or whatever, anything like that. But when you go for citizenship, It's just you and one agent, and you study the questions, and you just, make sure you memorize them, and most of the time they ask you the simple questions, but when you're there, you're nervous and you tend to lose the answers for those questions. But for any of you that are in permanent residents, I encourage you to do your citizenship. It is a process. It's nerve wracking, but at the end, it's worth it because something my mom always told me: become a U.S. citizen because you never know, you can be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and in you go, and they can, send your
Yeah.
butt back. And I was like, what, you're right.
So nowadays, you can't even go to like the store without being like
Yeah,
harassed. You're like, even like the U.S. citizens are from
and
here.
not even harassed just by
Profile.
someone who, yeah, racially profiled by someone who's not Mexican, but you also get profiled or harassed by your own people.
Yeah, I see
Those are
that.
the
The Trump
worst
for
enemies you
Latinos.
can have is your own people. Yes, I get it. You were born here, glad, fun. But do you remember how your parents got here? Do you remember
Exactly.
the process they went through as
Or
self
your
to get here?
ancestors, even if their
And your
parents weren't here,
ancestors,
their
your ancestors were
ancestors.
already here because Texas is part of Mexico
Exactly. And
as
that's
well. Texas is part of Mexico. California is part of Mexico. So Mexico own a huge part of Texas and California and New Mexico and Arizona, all the stuff as well. So they can say, this is
I
all
just
it's not the US, this is
it
part of Mexico as well.
it is so upsetting, like when I see on social media and see that our own people from our own culture, that there's people that I lived back in the valley, that I back in when I lived in the valley, I knew a lot of people that were their parents were undocumented or still in the process, and to see them on social media today and be very supportive of what ICE agents are doing to our community and thinking, oh, because I voted Republican, I voted for Trump, nothing's gonna happen to me. Like, I'm good. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it is just so like the where people forget where their roots come from, like how hard our ancestors, our abuelos, abuelitas, our moms and dads, like the hard work that they had to do to to become US citizens or go through or still going through a process, because not everybody is lucky where they get it like in a year or two. Some takes like
Yeah.
their whole life.
I've seen videos on TikTok and Facebook, people getting their permanent resident card. And in the video, it says after 30 years, 20 years, 25 years, it's a long
It
process.
is a
It
long
is.
process.
And that's what I'm saying. Those that are here already through the process, let them be here. Let them finish the process. They have no background. They've been okay. They've been good. Otherwise, they wouldn't be that long to get the permanent resident card. Because if they did have a background, they wouldn't apply for it. They wouldn't be here. So those that are getting it, I bless them a lot, that they did it this far, and hopefully the next step for them will be citizenship. But on top of that, those that are own people, I mean, I guess it's easy for them to say, I'm Republican, or I don't like to, because they haven't been to the struggle.
Yeah, they
They've
haven't.
never been through it. So why can you sit there and be like, it's easy for you to just sit there and judge others where you don't know what they're going through?
Agree.
Growing up Mexican, I didn't hide from anything or, spoke only English, to fit in with people. I spoke both English. I speak English and Spanish fluently, and I don't have, anything shame in it. Being bilingual is more beneficial for someone because at the end of the day, you get paid more as well in any job you decide to go because there's always a second language somewhere else you go. Now, growing up, of course, the main language in home was Spanish. My brother grew up with us as well. My little brother have a younger brother as well. His Spanish is not good because he, I guess, just stuck with the American way and
Uh-huh.
just speak English. But
There's a lot of
his,
Latinos in my family
like,
like that. Yeah.
color the hair blonde, but
Ay, la
still,
güeras.
no palero aquí enfrente. Um, but, you know, um, that was his choice and I understand. No pressure on that. He's my brother. I love him. Whatever he did, his decision, whether he whether he's Republican, Democrat, liberal, whatever it is, he's my brother. But he's a good person, and I don't think he'll ever turn his back on his own family. Me and him talk about things once in a while, but we don't get too political on things.
Good.
I always care about him, where he's at, and how his family is doing as well.
Yeah.
But my mom was always, she's my backbone, and I'm her
That's
backbone as
good.
well. My mom always cared for me and she always just watched, make sure I didn't get in trouble.
Good. I think that's very
And if I
important.
did, that was on my own.
I know, like, I know the last time when we went to the day of your hearing, I remember I was so scared. I was so scared, like, thinking, like, "Oh my god, like, is ISIS are gonna show up?
That's what I was
Are
scared
they gonna
too. Like they're
deport
gonna have
are they
ICE
gonna
agents
deport my
there.
best
Like,
friend?" Like, I was, like, so scared that day, like, I was like, "Fuck." I'm like, "I hope everything goes well," and then I seen, like as I see so many, like, people from
uh-huh.
like, in line, I'm like, "Man, I hope I," and I saw him seen a white van, I was like, "Son of a bitch." I was like, "I hope they don't fucking come out with ICE agents," because I mean,
Yeah,
it's been happening where
yeah,
people are their appointments are getting canceled right when they get out,
yeah.
and it's scary
And that's
seeing
mainly
all those.
downtown, the courtapouse here. Downtown
Because it
San
happened
Antonio.
here in San Antonio too, where it was happening
Yes,
when
it
all
was,
this
but those
started.
are people that are going through a process of
Asylum.
getting, well, besides that, but clearing out something they had illegally that they found out they were here. Either the judge is gonna go through it or dismiss it. Once the judge has dismissed it, that's when they're getting detained, and that's not right. You
Yeah,
know,
I think so. I think some of them were like that, but I think there was like maybe not here in San Antonio because I know San Antonio is it's very democratic, but I think in other
no. San Antonio is turning its back in zone people right now too,
oh yeah, I agree with that.
especially the cops.
I see like certain things that is just like insane to see and it's not right. And I feel like as a community to keep our people safe and to keep our people like not a fear is we have to have our city leaders, our officers like stand with the people. Like right now more than ever, our people that are marginalized, our Latino community, like need the support from our city and local leaders and our law enforcement because it's not what's happening is wrong. It's scary, especially when kids are being like torn apart from their parents. And this is like we're just in such a crazy era. And going into that, like where the fear comes, I remember growing up as a kid, and I told you this the day after your hearing. I remember driving back, and I remember I told you I was like, "Hey, I got something to tell you." And for a very long time, because growing up as a kid, like knowing I'm gonna come clean right now because a lot of people don't know this, but I I'm not Puerto Rican. I am a Mexican. I am Mexican, but the reason why the reason why I told people I was Puerto Rican because I knew one day like because growing up seeing how my mom was being treated and my family and as an adult and I mean as a kid I felt like one day I'm going to go through crazy shit in life and I want to protect my mom because I used to always tell myself like
Yeah,
one day I'm going to be a voice. I don't know what I'm going to be like what I'm gonna do in my life, but I know I want to help people. But there was just one part of me that was afraid of telling of people finding out where I come from, where my family's from. So I when I moved to San Antonio, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tell people I'm from Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican. If everybody asks me, I'm gonna say I'm Puerto Rican because I wanted to protect my mom. My mom is like I love her to death, and you know what? With everything that happened this year, I'm glad that I don't need to worry about my mom going through that. Yes, I lost my mom it sucks. It sucks, but I think I also would be so much afraid right now that if my mom became a US citizen and just afraid of one day, especially because living in San Antonio, the way the valley is, if my mom were to get like picked up or like by ice out there nowhere, I wouldn't know. We
yeah,
wouldn't even know right away till like hours later if
or
my dad
days.
didn't notice or days if my dad didn't notice. Um so I hid that from everybody. I told everybody I was Puerto Rican because I was afraid that one day people were like I was like if I ever have some type of platform or whatever, I don't want people to look into my history
Yeah,
and know that my mom was born in Mexico.
I was never
And
scared. Like, girl, I'm sorry, I was never scared. Saying I was Mexican. People will be like, "Ay, pinche mexicano." Yeah, y qué? Like, yes, I'm a
and
Mexican. I'm not gonna deny I
yeah.
am, but I was here. But like I said, if you have done nothing wrong in your life, there's nothing you should be as scared of. Then you shouldn't. The only thing people fear is what they don't know. If you don't know what's out there or how to defend yourself or know the laws, on your rights, because even as a permanent resident, you still have rights
Oh
because you're
yeah.
a human. We are humans. Everybody has rights to whether we have to, you know, knowing those factors shouldn't have fear in your life.
Yeah.
Knowing
And
you're not doing nothing wrong in your life
yeah.
shouldn't have fear in it.
Yeah, and and just as like I mentioned, like as a kid, like I didn't know like what the future hold, what it was, and all I ever wanted to do was protect my mom because I would see my mom and dad protecting us. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? I was like, if things ever get crazy in the future, I was like, I don't know how it's gonna be. I want to protect my mom, And then I guess going because of that experience that I had with like my ex fiance, that abusive relationship that I went through, I was like, you know what? I'm like, if the person I love so much can be so cruel, how the fuck is the world gonna be when
Yeah.
like as in the future? So I was like, you know what? I when I moved from the valley, I was like, I'm gonna change my name. I'm gonna change a lot of things. I'm gonna not forget where I came from because I never do. But I was like, I'm gonna create this new person. I'm gonna be reborn, and I'm gonna change certain things. I'm gonna kill certain things off of my past because I want to protect my mom. My whole
Mhm.
mentality when I said I was Puerto Rican was because I wanted to protect my mom, and I was like, I don't want people to know my background, what my old name was, and for that. But then when I saw you go through this process, like at the end, I really like, you know, and it made me really proud. I'm like, because I remember I remember I called you. I was like, "Are you sure you're gonna go?" And you're like, "Yes,
Uh,
I'm gonna do it." And because I was so scared, like I was so scared for you. But I was like, you know what? If my best friend is not afraid, he went in with an open heart, open mind. Like, you know what? I know I do good. I know I done my part in this community. I'm not gonna be afraid of what comes
yeah.
next.
And it's
And you know, and that
funny.
gave me the courage to do that,
Uh,
to like talk about and tell you the truth. Like, you know what? For many years I've lied to you, and I feel bad because I didn't want to lie to my best friend or to anybody, but I did it in a way to protect my mom. That was
no,
my biggest
it's
thing.
understandable, and I appreciate you telling me that too. That day I had passed everything, I appreciate that too, because one thing I don't like people, I'm close to hiding things from me. I don't know, appreciate that as well. But I do understand where you're coming from regarding because it was from my parents. My dad passed away when I was 11. So I only left my mom. But, my mom is like, you see my mom, you see me. Like, she's not going to hold back on nothing. And I'm the same way. So I'm the reflection of my mom, a strong person, someone who's very dedicated. And when you put your heart and mind to it, you're going to go through it no matter what is thrown at you, you'll find a
Exactly.
way
And
to
and
fight
and
through it,
that's how my mom is. Like you're right. Like I think we're our spit images of our parents,
Yeah.
our especially our moms, our personalities. And that's why I'm like when you were going there at the end that day, I kept thinking about my mom. I was like, my mom would have told me like do the right thing and be honest about it to your best friend. So I was like, you know what, this is my mom speaking to me and it feels right. And I feel like, you know what, I'm gonna just come clean
Yeah.
about it.
And I think that's one of the things that maybe some people don't like us Mexicans because, like they say, like we're chingones, like I'm
You
gonna chinga,
bitches.
that whatever. But to that point, before I went to my interview, 2 weeks before, I know I told you, I had a dream, and that dream, I was sitting at the process already at the interview with the agent, and the agent just asked me, you know what? Yeah, you seem like a cool person. Seem like you never had a background. Just answer me one question. That's it. And next thing you know, somebody else got up and something happened that the agent had to leave. And in my dream was if you get a white card, you didn't pass. You didn't get citizenship, but you got the green card, you passed. Like
It was a
green, you're good to
sign.
go. Yeah, it's a sign. So, okay, fine, whatever. So he left. I left and I got home and I sat and I saw something that fell from the chair and I grabbed and I went down, I picked it up and I looked, it was just a green paper. And I was like, oh, I think I passed. Like,
Aw.
so when the next day, so when I woke up, I was like, okay, it's going to
It
be
was a
fine.
sign.
Primero Dios, God willing, everything will be okay and good health and good faith and everything. And surely enough, September 5th was when I had the interview, the test, and I passed everything flying colors. The agent that was there, very nice lady, she showed me a picture of me 2 days after I was born. A baby
Oh, that baby
picture,
picture?
yeah, a baby picture I have never seen in my entire life.
That's
And when
crazy.
I saw it, I was gonna start
I should
crying.
blow it up.
No, I was gonna start crying. And she's like, "You okay?" And I told her, "I'm good. I'm just processing it because my entire life I've never seen a baby picture of myself. Besides, when they baptize you and everything, that's the only picture I've seen me being baptized. But as a baby, like when you're a newborn or 2 days or a day old, like I've never seen one." I go, she goes, "Well, that's the only picture we have of you as a baby." I'm like, she goes, "You want to take a picture? You can. It's your picture." I'm like,
Oh,
okay, and I did. And my mom got me to the international bridge there in Brownsville, which is U.S. Customs, to present me and get my resident card, Social Security, and all that stuff and everything. So that was the legal process to do
uh,
it back then. Right now is the whole shit show. You know, they're asking like, where you lived here so long? Will you work here? Or what do you do? They're probably even gonna ask you how many times you go to the restroom, what color does it come out? That's the last thing they want to
No
know too.
shit.
No, I'm being serious. That's how like anal they are about things they want to know about you.
Yeah,
You
and they
know?
do, and they ask you questions that is like, I don't remember what the fuck I did last week.
Yeah,
And
it's
ask
like
you
they test you
questions
like that
like,
to see what your memory is like. But along the way, after I was done with the interview and the test, I got back home and of course I told my mom, I called her right away and I told her, Mom, I passed. She said, oh, congratulations and everything. My mom, when she did hers, she was like 59 already when she did it. Like, and my mom has a good memory, but it's like it's still not really there. But
yeah,
she's good in remembering things. So I was like, she could do it, I could do it. And I'd be here my entire life.
yeah.
So it wouldn't be difficult for me to know, questions of the U.S. and historically of the U.S. or
I
anything
probably
like
wouldn't
that.
fail, to be
Okay,
honest.
people that I've seen, and this is no joke, people that I've seen on interviews on Facebook or TikTok, and they ask them, what is like a certain thing of the U.S. history? They're like, I don't know. And those are people that been here
Yeah, I
their
live
whole
here
fucking entire life, and they don't know the history of their
of
of
their
their
country.
country. They don't. Us that weren't born
They're
here, we know
hardcore
our
diehard
history very
patriots,
well.
and some of them don't even know
No, they
like the
don't.
Constitution,
They
like
don't.
anything. Like I see these videos like the ones you're talking about, and it's funny because they'll be like tested by interviewers, and I love some of these interviewers that go out there and they literally like and like those Republicans are hardcore patriots can't even answer the simple questions that are
They
like,
don't. But it's
are
funny.
you
They
kidding
don't
me?
know the history of America. But you ask them who did this to who, and they'll answer like this. They answer the negative. They know the negative side of history of America, but they don't know the positive one. They don't know the good side of America as well. Negative people only remember negative things
Yeah.
because that's what they only were drilled into their heads. Nobody's born with hate.
Oh yeah,
Hate
hate is
is
taught.
taught to someone or
I
shown to someone. Okay. So I just, when Trump got elected, I said to myself, whoever wins, either Harris or Trump, if he's going to do what he said he's going to do, it's fine. It's a process. I understand there's a certain way to do things. There's a certain way to get here. I understand that. But we can all still be good to each other and just let him take
yeah.
care of what he needs to do.
His
Get to
job. And you see,
involved.
in the beginning of his first term, I was very like I was not going for him. I was going for Hillary. Because of like the history of Trump, of his like failed businesses and all these additional things. And but I did have an open mind. I was like, you know what, if he wins, let's give this guy a chance. Maybe he's not like every politician. Maybe he really is does his interest best at the heart of everybody. And I was open about the first term, but then all that disaster that he was doing, and then the second one, I'm like, yeah, we don't need someone, especially with all the hate that this time
Yeah.
around. His campaign was just written on just pure
Real
hate,
racism.
racism. I was like, this is
At this
insane.
point, I'd rather have Bush back than Trump.
I would too.
At least Bush was Republican, but hey, he wasn't as bad as this person
Yeah,
is right now.
this one is far like I don't know. This one's on
And
his own.
regarding like people, for example, a lot of people are like, well, Harris and Biden, they were also deporting people, disappearing them. Yeah, they were, but they weren't going to people's homes. They weren't going to their jobs. They weren't going to schools, elementary schools, to
Daycares
get daycares, and harassing people and
or
handcuffing them.
crashing.
No,
Oh, you see the
they
videos?
weren't doing that. They were doing it the proper way. They were, and
The
yes,
dual
they were doing
process.
it. But every president has deported a certain amount of, not illegal aliens, no, undocumented people from the U.S. because they had to. It's a process everybody wants to do the
They either
legal way,
did they had
but
a
not as
crime
bad
or
as
some
this
type of
person because this is more on racism than doing anything right because of the laws. It is.
yeah, and they're not just targeting like undocumented people.
Whether
It's
you're a
either
U.S. citizen, if
yeah,
you're not
you're
white, they're gonna pull your
exactly
ass out and ask you questions if you're a U.S. citizen or not. But know
exactly
your rights. You don't need to answer those questions. You don't need to answer those questions.
exactly. I agree. And it's just like a crazy time that we're living in, and it's just unbelievable. I feel for those families that are being torn apart right now. Those children that can't either find their parents, or the parents that can't find their children separated. I feel for y'all. Our community's here with
And
y'all.
First
with y'all.
thing is that people that are being deported, they're not sending them back to their countries.
And that's the scary
They're sending
part.
them somewhere else. And you don't know that person's going to be able to live
Like the ones in the
on that
beginning
country
when
where
they
they're
got
at.
sent to Salvador, the gay makeup artist, the father from
Yes,
Marcus
and they
that
had
grew
no
up there.
background. They had no criminal background. They had nothing like that. Who Lord only knows if they were already like on process as well, you know?
Yeah,
And they're being sent somewhere where they are not from. Why they're making people disappear. And that's not right. It's
it's
not
scary.
because you don't know. You and I can leave right now.
And we might get deported.
We don't even know
Get
where we're
pulled
gonna go,
over. All of
whether
us.
you're a U.S. citizen or not.
Ashley, you're coming with us too.
You
Oh,
know, you don't know if you're gonna stay here or not, or they're gonna go after you or not. Because one of the experiences I went through when Trump got voted in, the day after he got voted in, I was on my way to go cut my hair, and I didn't have my truck yet, did I? Yeah, I did have my truck, but I took my car. So I was taking the car, and I was in line waiting at the red light to turn left, and there were two cop cars, and I always trust my gut feelings. I had a weird vibe. They were looking at me at my car. And I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like,
oh, that
Diosito
must have been so
Santo,
scary.
hope it is okay. Nothing happens. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Whatever. So as soon as I turned, the two cop cars did a U-turn and followed me
Oh my God.
as well.
I'd have been so scared.
So I'm like, okay, something's going to happen. They're going to pull me over. More likely they are. So I went to the left lane and they went to the left lane. I went to the right lane and they went to the right lane.
That's
A minute
scary.
later,
That's
it
happened to
is.
me.
A
Like,
minute later, they turn on their lights. So I pulled in next to a church. I pulled into the parking lot there. In my mirror, my rear mirror, I have nothing hanging there. I only have the phone holder for, hands free when I
uh-huh.
do DoorDash. So he pulls me over, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth was, "Do you understand English?"
Oh hell no.
My response to him, English or Spanish, I'm bilingual. So you decide how you want to speak to me. I go, I can answer you back however you want me to. So then another cop came over here on the side of the passenger side, Latino cop, and he asked me to roll down my window. And I said no, because I'm already speaking to him over here. So I didn't roll down my window because you never know, they're going to put something in there, or they're going to just, incite things just to make
Yeah.
you more nervous.
I feel that that's why
Because that's all
they
they
always
do.
ask. I feel like that's why they ask, like, put down your window, because sometimes there's bad cops that
Yeah,
want to
there
slip
is.
those into the back. Oh look, this is what I
Yep.
found.
Or they start interrogating you different questions or the
Yep.
same question to see if you got the same answer as the first one.
Yeah.
But I didn't roll on the window. So after 5 minutes, the cop comes back and he's like, "Okay, you're free to go." And I go, "Well, you didn't even tell me why you pulled me over." And he's like, "Oh, because I thought you had an obstruction on your rear mirror." I'm like, "I have
Right.
nothing there."
He was just profiling.
And then he was pointing at my phone holder, and I go, "No, sir, we can have those because those are hands free." If that was the case that we cannot have those, then every Uber, Lyft driver should be pulled over. I go, because everybody's driving those
Even
nowadays.
them, they have their whole laptop like right there.
The 8 years that I've been here in San Antonio, I always did have something hanging on my rear mirror. Not one time any cop pulled me over
Yeah,
for that.
I have shit on my Jeep.
I was racially profiled. Girl, I went home. I didn't go to bed till 4 because my blood was freaking boiling out of anger. And I even started crying a little bit because
It's
nothing I
ugly.
could have done yet.
Yeah.
Nothing I could have done yet, because what if these people were out to get people already to start deporting them,
Yeah.
So at that time, I had to keep my mouth shut, you know? But now that I have my citizenship,
You
it's
can use
like,
your voice.
fuck this. Like, now I'm going to use my voice, now I'm going to know my rights and practice those rights,
Exactly.
because this is not going to be more of a hush hush thing anymore. No, it's
Exactly.
not. We're going to be speaking now louder than ever now. Because
Yes,
this
and
needs to
I
stop.
agree. I agree. I think for my listeners out there, I think if you are somebody that you're not sure about your rights, educate yourself, look at the
Go
law, like,
online, go online to U.S. government, any government website, or just Google it, print it out, learn at least your most basic rights.
yes,
You
I
know,
agree. It is
and look
important.
at the ones where, like, what do I do if I get pulled over? What if I do if this, or just learn your basic rights. That's all it is. Your basic rights are the ones that are going to be your voice to protect you from anything else.
If y'all are listening and are wanting to know, you know what, I don't know where to search, we have two amazing, great organizations in the state of Texas and nationally. We have the Human Rights Campaign
Yes.
and Equality Texas. Look up their website. They have the most updated information when it comes to your rights, just anything that's going on politically. Those are two organizations that I deeply trust, and
Mhm.
and I think that is the most accurate information, especially with this administration going into the websites. They're deleting stuff. I wouldn't even trust that, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad to say that, but I wouldn't trust the website of the White House. I would just go into these big organizations that are fighting for human rights, which is the Human Rights Campaign and Equality of Texas.
Yeah. No, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the best thing. Google do your research, Google it, educate yourself. Educate yourself the most you can, because that's the only thing that's going to save your life is being educated on certain things to defend yourself and protect yourself out there as well.
It is. It's very important. And, JoJo, I'm glad that you got the time to like do this interview with me. Something I think that was need to be heard, because there's out there, like I said, people that are stating, oh, they're do it the right way, do it right. Well, this is somebody who has been here for more than a little bit over 40 years and has gone through a process, and it took almost a lifetime.
It did, and the reason why it took a lifetime because I I guess back in the days it wasn't a much importance of it how it is nowadays. But I know my mom always told me, become a U.S. citizen, become a U.S. citizen. Since 2010, she always asked me to become a U.S. citizen. No, not
But
2010.
you,
I'm sorry, no.
just to make
Since
things clear, because I know people are gonna hear this and they're gonna like spin it. Just to make things clear, you were still here legally, right? Like,
yeah,
you're
I've been here the legal way my whole life.
okay. Perfect. Making
That
that clear,
legal
because
way.
I know people will be like, "Oh, you see, he just
Yeah,
barely started doing it
been here
here with
whole life
permission."
legally here my whole life. I mean, had social security, everything. Um, the only thing I can ask for people, especially those that are in the process as well, um, don't turn your backs on each other. Help out each other. If you're here legally, help those that are not. If you were born here, help people, be that voice for them or guide them, the correct way where they can go for information. We're not here to judge others. We're here to help each other and grow each other and, move forward with each other as well. We want the best for everybody, just as the country wants to be a good country. We can be a good country if we're a good people for each other as well, too. But we cannot turn each other ourselves against each other for something like we didn't have
Exactly.
fault
More
into.
more than
It wasn't
ever.
my fault born in Mexico.
Yeah.
Why to anyone
Honestly,
else?
like, it is nobody's fault where we are born.
We're not.
Even our
No, it's not.
parents, our grandparents, like, it's nobody's fault where we
My
were
mom
born.
originally from Monterrey, and my dad originally was from somewhere in a city called, I think, I'll see Monterrey. Not from this somewhere, city in Mexico called San Diego, something like
San
that.
Diego, nice.
But they both were here legally as well. They did it the right way, and they got married. Had me, my brother, and then my dad passed away of cancer, of course. Then my mom, she's still alive. Thank God she's still alive. But without my mom, I mean, I wouldn't be here. I think if my mom would not encourage me to become a U.S. citizen, I would have been somewhere else.
So
I
I'm
would have been
sure your
legally
mom would
somewhere
hear
else.
this. She's gonna hear this episode. What is something that you'll like to tell your mom? She's listening right now.
Someday I would like to tell my mom. Why wouldn't I tell my mom? She knows everything about me. But my mom, I mean, I love her. I mean, she's been, like I said, she's been my everything to me. She's been my backbone. She's been to my ups and downs. The days I've cried, she's like, "Why are you crying? Like, don't cry."
Aw.
Like, when I had my boyfriend of 8 years, she one time saw me crying when I got home.
Aw.
And she said, "Why are you crying?" And I told her, and she was like, "Ah, pinche vato, ¿para qué lloras con este pinche pelado? Mejor llora por mí cuando yo me muera. Die, cry for me when I
Every
die." I
Latino
was like, "Oh
mom
my
and
God."
dad say that.
My mom, parents are so dramatic. But, and I was like, wow, like my mom really cares about me. Like she doesn't want me to get hurt. And I
Yeah.
understand how that is to people because Mexican culture, family is really united,
Yeah.
very close to each other. But as close as we are, if any family is not good in my life, I will cut them off. I don't care
Yeah.
because I don't need negative people in my life.
I agree.
I never had negative people in my life. I mean, like relationships, yeah, I understand. But people that are dear and close to me, even as family member, if there are no good use for me or any good way, but just more negative in my life,
Yeah.
I don't need people like
I
that. You
agree.
don't.
And that I'm
Surround
very
yourself with positive people that are gonna
exactly.
push you to be better and better yourself.
It does. You surround yourself with positive people. I feel like that's how we get through life. being in community, being there for each other, especially more than ever. I know like right now is the toughest time. Like we're going into the holidays, and a lot of us don't have family members, or
Yeah.
so you have your friends, you have your people, surround yourself with positive
Imagine
people.
those people that got deported. Now they don't have their families here. How sad is that going to be for them this year? Maybe there's the
Dude,
first year ever they're not going to be together.
it's
And
gonna
maybe
be
the
hard.
first year
Yeah,
they still haven't heard from them yet.
exactly.
You know, how sad is that going to be? It's bad. It's
It
sad.
is.
It's a
It is.
horrible
It's a
thing.
really sad thing, and it's hard. But I know, like JoJo, thank you for like joining me. I have one last question before we wrap this up. I know it's getting cold out here and it's chilly right now, guys. We're at La Cantera. I think I loved it. Like I do my podcast very differently. I love the outdoor scenery, and this is something I saw. Like, you know what? Let's do it La Cantera at
I
night.
like it.
Really cool. I'm here with my best friend, my two best friends, JoJo and Ashley. So we're out here. Jojo, there's one question I want to ask you that I think
No.
it's very. I love asking. I think it's to ask some people, but I think this is an appropriate time to ask you, especially because somebody from the LGBT community, the things that we do, how we advocate, the careers we have, and how far you've come in life. What is one thing that you would tell? What is one advice that you tell your younger self?
My younger self?
Yes.
Oh my God. I've seen those videos.
I love it because RuPaul did that
Yes.
in Drag Race. So that's why I love asking that. Like, what would you tell your younger self?
What would I tell my younger self? Well, that's a good question. Never doubt yourself in life. The things you're capable of doing. I know I could do a lot, but I always procrastinate. But yeah, it's never doubt yourself what you can do in life. Like good things you can do in life. I
Awesome.
think that's the best thing I could advise myself. And I never take my own advice, but I should nowadays because I know I could do a lot right now. I could go really far right now as well with things that I have in mind as well too.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what is the next step for you? I know you got into a lot of baking lately,
Oh yeah.
and
So yes, I
you're a
do bake a
cake.
lot. I
You're
cook a lot.
good.
Obviously, you can tell. As you can tell, but it's okay. My boyfriend loves me like this. um, I don't know. I guess a lot of people are like you should open your little bakery stuff, sell your cakes that you do and all this baking stuff. I'm like, nah, I do. You're going to procrastinating. See what I say? I do, but I know if I need to put myself in a better place first so I can move forward. Because if I don't put myself in a better place, is I just see myself not advancing more into it. But yes, I do want to go into bakery, take a decorating class, and then put a little little bakery business and sell cakes
Well,
that
you
I
know
can do.
what? The March of Us is coming up, is around the corner. You know how I get the vendors every year. I get different organizations of vendors. So I think this will be this year coming up. There's the opportunity to show your craft, to show your delicious, like
I've
your
done choco
sweets.
flan, tres leches,
So we'll see.
pineapple cake.
You're gonna have a table at the March to you can sell your amazing work, your food. It's amazing. I loved it. Like that.
Thank you.
Like I don't like flan. Into that night that I went over to your
Oh
house,
yeah.
that chocolate one. Ray
Hey,
liked
girl,
it.
I
Ray was like, "Oh
loved
my god,
it.
this is JoJo making." I was like, "Yeah, it's really good."
And
So he
keep in
liked
mind, it
it.
was 10 years that haven't done it until
We got Betty
last
Crocker.
week. 2.0 San Antonio edition.
Well, JoJo, this was really fun. Thank you so much. The time, you've been my best friend. We've known each other for already going on 6 years.
Yeah.
And from the bottom of my heart, like I really appreciate it. Like you being there for me, you giving me the opportunity to get into the HIV field. This is how my whole like career like now shifted after my brother. You really opened the doors for me in many ways, and I will always be grateful for that. You helped me find my voice as well by giving me that opportunity. And I will always be grateful for you. Thank you for continuing to be my best friend and being there for me. Even when times I don't like what you got to say. But you know what? That's what best
I
friends are
say
for.
it. That's it.
You're just like me. We're unfiltered. We're fucking raw, unapologetic. And I think that's why you're one of my best friends. And we're so close. I'll always be there for you. I know you'll always be there for me. So thank you so much for joining me on my podcast today.
You're welcome.
And Unfiltered, this was really fun. Hey, beauties, thank you for listening. Thank you for following on my social media. Unfiltered Beauty X Rain is on Apple and Spotify, and of course social media. I'm excited because the next guest after this is I'm going to have someone really fun that I'm excited. But we're going to have a Ashley takeover. Some of y'all might know her from a show, but you know what? She is her own beauty now. She has her own glow. And I'm just going to give a little sneak peek to her introduce herself so you can watch out for our next episode.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Ashley Danielle. This is Ashley Danielle from Black Ink Crew Chicago, but I'm on my spiritual journey now, so I can't wait to share with you all what I've been working on.
Is coming on.
Yes, and make sure you guys are following my Instagram page, okay? Because
let me throw my promotions in there.
yes, look, yes, I'm a reality TV star, but I'm also an influencer and a content creator. So follow my IG page. It is very, very inspirational. And you'll love it. It's Ashley_Danielle B. And I cannot wait to take over Unfiltered Wings. So stay tuned.
It's Unfiltered Beauty. That's wrong one. Wrong organization, girl.
Unfiltered
So
Beauty.
Next week, guys, well, probably after the holidays, since she's going out of town for the holidays. But when she comes back in about 2 weeks, she is going to do an Unfiltered Beauty takeover where I get to be on the hot seat and she is going to host Unfiltered Beauty for this episode. So stay tuned, excited. And
yes, get ready. It's going to be a takeover, guys. I got some shit I want to say.
well, guys,
I got some shit I want to ask, some questions, y'all. So stay tuned.
Well, thank you, Ashley. Thank you, JoeJoe, for joining. And
Thank you for having me
again,
over.
beauties, thank you so much for being such an inspiration. I see y'all, I hear y'all, and I can't wait to just keep in touch with y'all. And if you want anybody out there that you want me to interview, let me know. Hit me up on my IG at She Is Rain. My name on Instagram is spelled a little bit differently. It's with 2 I's and 2 N's at the end. So, and of course, I have the Unfiltered Wings and of course my social media on Facebook. So thank you so much, guys. And like I've always say, unleash your inner beauty.
Get tested.